Hello friends, Jeff here. Hope I have enough battery on my phone left to make this video. I got about 23%, so we'll see. I'll try to get through this as quick as I can. This video is a contest entry for new to me, but not new to the VC apparently. Tunes from the Man Cave. My new friend Chris crossed the 500 sub mark. How did I miss this? I know, I'm a dingbat. What can I say? I just subbed to your channel the other day, Chris, and dude, you're awesome. What can I say? It's one of those things where it's like, where have you been all my life? A week hasn't gone by in the VC where I haven't discovered at least one new channel of somebody, where they've been around, or they're new, or anything in between. So, apologies to that, my friend. But you have my undivided attention now. So, I've watched a couple of your more current videos, and what can I say? I dig it. I dig your taste in music, and definitely dig jazz, because that's something that I'm trying to get more into. I know I keep saying that, and it never happens, but it's starting to. And if you saw yesterday's VCLT video that I made, you'll know why, because I got a pretty freaking awesome record. That's a jazz record. So, besides 500 subs, he's also celebrating a year in the VC, which is another awesome feat. You really have to love making videos to keep doing them for that long. Hey, there's my dog again. She's just going to be my co-star. It's going to be just me and Jinx. Yeah, you really have to love making videos to keep doing them week after week, day after day, and in your case now it's going to be year after year, so keep doing it. You're doing good. So he's running a contest, and it's 5 questions plus a bonus question. I'm going to go for it all, and good luck to everyone who's already made entries. I've already watched a few. So with that, we're going to get started. I've written them down so I don't forget, and let's get started. Question number 1. Album or albums that remind you of your family. Now, if you guys have watched my videos for any length of time, you know that my dad is a big Johnny Cash fan. So, I've probably shown all these separately in videos in the past, but I don't think I've ever shown them all together at once. So these are all of the Johnny Cash albums that I've picked up from my dad that he gave me, because they don't have a turntable anymore. And he's one of those people. I associate him with Johnny Cash more than anybody else. Just like, you know, there's people on the VC, you know, where it's like Bill from the Vinylverse, he's the Genesis guy. You know, Beth from B-Side Records, she's the Queen girl. 8 Vinyl Low, she's a newer VC member. She's big into Cheap Trick. You get where I'm going. I don't think I have any one artist yet that I can be associated with, but I could probably come up with a few. In any case, I'm going to show you again. These are all his, originally bought when they came out. Johnny Cash with his Hot and Blue Guitars, first album for Sun Records. Fabulous Johnny Cash, his first album for Columbia. Songs of Our Soil, which I think was his 3rd album for Columbia. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not quite sure. His 3rd or 4th. 1962, The Sound of Johnny Cash. Probably his favorite out of all of these is this one called Johnny Cash Sings the Ballads of the True West. This is a double album, and it's almost like a country concept album. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of it, but if you have, look it up. I don't think it has any hits off of it that helped make him more famous, but it's interesting, and it's kind of a slightly different take on what you might think of as Johnny Cash music. So Um, Johnny Cash sings the ballads of the True West. Now, all the ones I just showed you are in basically unplayable condition. I'm just keeping them as heirlooms. I've tried playing them a little bit, some for just a few seconds, and they're just in horrible condition because they lived their lives without any kind of inner sleeve to protect them, even a paper one, which is a shame. So, but the one album of his that is actually in pristine condition is this one here from the early 70s. I think it was from 1970 or 71, called Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. And this is probably the one that I like out of this group the most. And it's 2i Columbia still, probably the tail end of the 2i Columbia era for that label. But it's like a brand new album. It plays great. And the music on this one, they're all good. I mean, I'm not a country music guy, I openly admit, but I like Johnny Cash. So I think it was probably just through sheer exposure and just worked into my head over the years that it just kind of got me to like it after a while. So probably more than any other family member, more than any other person I associate with music, a certain artist, is Johnny Cash and my dad. So that's going to cover question number 1. Now, question number 2, an album that reminds you of your kids. Well, you'll probably recall me showing this recently, and more than any other album that I've gotten in the last, say, 3, 4, 5 months, the soundtrack to Bohemian Rhapsody, or as my kids call it, Bo Rap, has been the most requested thing for me to play for them. And I've listened to this several times, and it's Queen. I can't say no whenever they ask, because the new music that they like is just like, I'm not even going to go there. So anytime they want to listen to something good, I'm going to support it. So I know I've showed this one a couple times, and I think I probably talked about it a couple times, but you know, when it comes to the music that I like and I collect in vinyl format, it doesn't really cross over with what they like. So whenever it does, occasionally, I gotta support it. So the soundtrack to Bohemian Rhapsody reminds me of my kids more than anything else. So it's kind of becoming almost like Queen is reminding me of them. Second to that album, I'm just going to throw this one in as an extra. Believe it or not, my kids loved Smoke on the Water. So when I picked up the Machine Head album and I played it, Smoke on the Water, they just wanted to hear that song over and over and over again. So I'm not going to say no to that either. So I just wanted to throw this in just to give a little bit of a variety besides Queen, because it's tough for them to find some kind of like classic rock song or band that they like. Because my one kid is 18, my other one is 15. You know, they've already got their own musical tastes. So, but every once in a while, we can kind of, the streams will cross, and we can both be happy at the same time listening to the same thing. Okay, third question, your beverage of choice when listening to music. I'm really not much of an alcohol drinker, I'll be honest with you. I do love a good cup of coffee, and it's pretty simple for me. I don't need a lot of fancy flavors or anything like that in my coffee. I just want a good cup of coffee. So my coffee of choice is San Francisco Bay. It's their organic rainforest blend. This is a 3-pound bag. We get it on Amazon. I think it's on sale. I think when it's on sale, it's like $27 or $30, but it lasts a good long time. And yes, it's whole bean. I grind my own beans, fresh, and I make them in a Mocha Master coffee maker. And if you want to look that up, it's MOCCA. Master, Mocha Master. They make the best cup of coffee on the planet. And all I need in my cup of coffee is Coffee Mate, original Coffee Mate. Not hazelnut, not vanilla, not peppermint, not caramel, frappuccino. Original Coffee Mate. Just put a slug of that in there, and I'm happy. So the weekends I'm off, the mornings I'm off, whenever my wife is too. It's kind of like our morning ritual. We'll make coffee. A lot of times we'll put a record on, and life is good, you know? What more do you need in life sometimes? I ask you. I don't know. So, yeah, I need coffee because I'm a shift worker, so sometimes I need it just to get by, whether it's day or night, but I honestly love the taste, so no freeze-dried taster's choice for me. I want the gourmet shit. Yeah. All right. Question number 4. Record from your favorite genre. Well, I've shown a lot of blues albums, of course. That's besides rock or classic rock or any other variation of rock. That's my favorite type of music. But I gotta tell you, in terms of one of the best sounding albums in any genre that I've listened to over the last few months, is this one, Folk Singer by Muddy Waters. It's Analog Productions reissue, QRP pressing, just a phenomenal album. And reason being, I mean, besides the great music, Muddy Waters, fantastic singer. I mean, I didn't really care for Muddy Waters a lot at first when I was younger, but I think as the years have gone by and I've gotten older and I've listened to more of his stuff, that wasn't, that sludgy Mannish Boy that he did in the 70s with Johnny Winter, that version that I'm talking about. I still don't like that song, but almost everything else of his I like. Unfortunately, that's the song I always hear on the radio. But anyway, this album sounds like you're in the room with him singing to you directly. You feel like you're sitting right next to him with his guitar, singing and playing, and it's amazing. It's probably one of the best sounding albums in my entire collection, I have to say. So, yeah, this is blues is my genre that I'm using, and this is my example of favorite album from that genre currently is this one, Folk Singer by Muddy Waters. Fantastic stuff. Okay, moving right along. Question number 5. A story behind an album. Your best story behind an album. For a very long time, one of my grails was Buckingham Nicks. And for a very long time, I was unable to acquire a copy of this record. And whether it was through an eBay auction that I lost, or I just couldn't find it in the wild, and or it was just, or if I did, it was just too expensive, too far to what I could pay. It just was out of reach. So my wife, being my wife, went wherever she went to find this and bought it for me for my birthday. This was a couple years ago. And this was the one, she got me this one, and she got me another, like a Fleetwood Mac comp of the Peter Green stuff. The early years. Fleetwood Mac, the early years, I think. And, she got me Adele 25 also on vinyl. Those were the 3 albums she got me for my birthday that year. But this one, she had me open last, and when I did, my jaw just hit the floor. I'm like, what the hell? And she's like, don't say anything. I got it for you. Don't worry how much it cost. Just enjoy it. And my wife being my wife, the wonderful person that she is, knew how much I wanted this, and she went out and got this for me. Um, Now this album was came out in 1973, and for a long time I was under the impression that it only had like one or two like pressings of it, because it's always been such a rare album because it's never been reissued. Well, according to what I found out on Discogs, because I logged this album as part of my Discogs project, this particular copy is from 1981. And if you look on Discogs and you look this album up, this isn't a gatefold version, this is just a single cover version. There were several pressings released between 73 and like 83. So I'm not sure where the rarity of this always comes from. Maybe it's because was it released on wasn't released on CD? Maybe that's why. I don't know. But this album did go through several pressings, which makes sense because once they joined Fleetwood Mac, I'm sure there was more interest generated for this album. But that was all later. At the time, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was just gobsmacked. And it was like the first thing vinyl related that my wife bought for me. Because at that time she knew I was getting heavier and heavier into collecting records. She heard me talk about it. She saw me trying to get it. Watching auction after auction and losing. And through the kindness of her heart, she got this for me. Aww. I still love her. She's done this a lot more in the succeeding years, but this was like the first one, and this was when, we were still kind of new in our marriage, and you guys know how I made my longest video is about the whole story about us meeting and getting together, so I'll just refer you to that one. But this was like the first time where she started giving me gifts of vinyl. So that's about the best story I've got for any of these albums, because I've got a lot of albums, and believe me, as I'm going through them, it seems like it's taking longer and longer for me to get through a shelf. I'm going slower and slower. I'm losing energy. Oh my God. But yeah, that's what I got for that question. I hope it's okay. Bonus. There's a bonus question, a tiebreaker, in case there is a tie. It's to tell your best story, giving or receiving of Vinyl Karma. Well, since I've joined the VC, and since I got introduced to the topic, or the concept, I should say, of VCLT, I've given out a lot, but I've received probably twice as much. And one of the things that kind of put me on the map a little bit in the early going days of my VC career, I guess you call it, was I gave Vinyl Victim's niece my old turntable. And that seemed to really raise a few eyebrows to some people. And it just seemed to generate a little, not publicity, but attention, I guess, because I don't think anyone had really sent like an actual turntable to somebody before. I don't know, maybe people have, but to me, it was something where I wanted to help somebody who was new to the hobby, was buying all these records, all these cool looking records, but wasn't able to play them because you didn't have anything to play it on. So I sent her my old Pioneer, which PL340, I still remember the model number, and it was just sitting in my storage unit. So I just boxed it up and I sent it to her. So that was a very nice feeling. I I love giving. I mean, as much as you see me get records here at the VC, I really love giving them more because it's more fun. And I got the biggest kick out of watching people do unboxing videos of stuff that I send them because I just love seeing people be happy. In terms of receiving VCLT, it's been unbelievable. I mean, if I'll refer back to yesterday's video that I made from Baraka P-Dub, the guy sent me 5 brand new sealed records. That's crazy. And like the Music Matters one, those aren't cheap. I know because I've looked at them many times and said to myself, I can't pay that. So to actually get one is just jaw-dropping. I'll give you another example. Your boy Dylan, our boy Dylan, sent me Brand New Morning when he picked me as one of the winners for his contest. And he was like, oh, what are you looking for? What kind of music you like? Blah, blah, blah. And I jokingly said, hey, if you got Brand New Morning, I'll be your friend for life. Because this was there's another grail of mine that I just couldn't get my hands on for some reason. But it was a joke. I was just kidding. So a couple days later, a week or two later, a package arrives. He sent me the record. I'm like, what? I saved the letter with it too. So it was another thing where I was just like, are you kidding me? This is insane. And probably another one that just came out of nowhere and just spun my head completely around was when Gary from Gary's Vinyl Den sent me this Ultra Disc one-step version of Texas Flood from Stevie Ray Vaughan. That was insane. Because I think it was from another contest entry or video that I made for something else where I mentioned something like this, how it would be too expensive and never be able to get it. And at the time I thought it was sold out anyway. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, a package arrives in the mail, and it's this. This is insane. It's been the generosity of the vinyl community has really left me awed and humbled. And on a slightly more serious note, somber note, it kind of, I'll just be honest. I'm always honest with you guys when I make videos. I don't have hardly any friends in the real world that you see. Besides my wife, my kids, a few, maybe one or two other people. I don't really have people that I'm close to. And in the last month, I don't even really have close extended family because my folks, who I mentioned, my dad, who's the big Johnny Cash fan, disowned me. So, it knocks you down a peg or two. It kind of makes you feel pretty shitty sometimes. And for people who are essentially strangers, like so many people out here in the VC, I mean, we watch their videos, people watch mine, I watch theirs. You think you know who they are, but essentially they're strangers to you. I mean, I've talked to a few on the phone. I've met a couple in person. But, people are being unbelievably generous to me, a stranger to them, essentially. And it just how can I explain it properly? Just you guys are better to me than 98% of what's in the real world around me here. So for that I'm grateful. I'm going to turn the camera here. You see that right there? That's the Telefunken unit, which was my grandmother's. There's a whole series of videos that Russ from Amorphous Audio did because he rebuilt the thing for me. I took out the tube set that's, that was in there. And there's like a million capacitors in that thing. There's probably 25 or 30 tubes. There's all kind of switches and shit that I look at and my eyes go crossed. And he took it and he's like, because, he repairs electronic equipment. And it's like, what do you think? You think you can fix this? He's like, sure. And it took months, but he did it for free as VCLT. So it's like, and he cleaned everything up. The lights work again. The dials work again. Everything works. It's like it's a brand new set. And the thing is from like the early 60s. And he just did it. Just out of the kindness of his heart, generosity. To, essentially a stranger. I met him. I mean, he came over to my house. We did a short video together way back when. But, there's no reason for that kind of level of kindness. It's like, I almost feel like I don't deserve it. So, I don't know. I don't want to be a downer. But I've been very, very awed and amazed and humbled, like I said, from the kindness of strangers, essentially, with this VCLT thing. So, even though I've sent some things out, I've given some things away. It's nothing compared to what I've received in return, both in friendship. I'm not even talking about physical objects like records, but friendship, camaraderie, that feeling of community, if you will. So, I don't know if that's a good story or not. This is more like my personal experience than a story, but that's what I'm going with because, and I've kind of wanted to say a few words about it as time has gone on and people have just been insanely generous to me. So that's going to be my bonus question answer. Whew, and I thought I was going to be quick, and we're at 28 minutes. Okay. Once again, Chris, I think you're awesome. You got a great channel. Congratulations on the 500 plus subscribers now. You're in the VC. I know this contest is doing pretty well for you. I'm seeing a lot of entries from a lot of my friends. And good luck to everyone else who's entered. So that's going to be it. I actually had battery. My phone hasn't died yet, so I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to sign off right now. This is Jeff. Peace. I'll see y'all again soon.